Welcome, welcome.
Howdy.
Hey, Dave.
Howdy.
We are on a special Wednesday night version of the Duluth Conservative because it's Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow, and I have a little swag here on it on your screen there, Dave.
Yep, I can see it now.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. We're gonna dive into the things that happened this week in Duluth, Minnesota, the nation, and internationally. And it's going to be a shorter show tonight, simply because, and I'm waiting to get a text from my wife. She's recruited me into helping cook food, so I have to go home fairly soon tonight. So we'll just get through this. And,
you're not going to make it home because of the incredible snowstorm. I think we got downtown got 1 inch. So,
it's slick out there though. It is treacherous driving around here in Duluth. And it was like 40-mile-an-hour winds last night. So it sounded so bad outside.
Yeah, Bentleyville is closed tonight because of the high winds last night. So it was knocking things over, which you'd think they would prepare for, but maybe it wasn't that high of winds that they were expecting. So regardless,
we had like a 4-foot drift outside our back house, and my dog's legs are about this tall, so he had to go. He had to go walking today.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get into it, Dave?
Yeah. Get into our pandemics.
Yeah. So I was talking to Dave before the show, and I'm trying to control my rage on this. Having grown up in the 70s and the 80s, and we were told everybody's equal. You judge people on merit. Everybody can do everything. And then we find out the University of Minnesota, and you can pop this up, Dave, on their cultural and family life lab page. This is sanctioned by the University of Minnesota itself. It says there is a whiteness pandemic. And they have resources for parents, educators, and other caregivers. So let's just scroll down, take a look at the people that make up this group, which is, young women. And so what is the whiteness pandemic? So according to them, racism is an epidemic that can also be considered a pandemic given its large cross-national portion and spread. However, there is another pandemic lurking behind and driving the racism pandemic, the whiteness pandemic. Whiteness refers to culture, not biology. The centuries-old culture of whiteness features colorblindness, passivity, and white fragility, which are all covert expressions of racism common to the United States. You know what this is? This is blatant racism by the University of Minnesota. And as much as they try to sugarcoat it in this thing, saying it's not about white people, it definitely is. And they don't even try to hide it with the name. They just try to sugarcoat it by saying it doesn't have anything to do with biology. This is a culture. And apparently this is a bad culture. And so if you go down further, it says it has sections of how do we halt and reverse the whiteness pandemic? Practical resources for self-reflection to develop a healthy white racial identity. And I'm looking back at these pictures, and I think the combined age of these girls is 60. They all look like they're like 20 years old.
Right.
This is boiling me. I can't believe I went to a university that is this blatantly racist and proclaim themselves to be colorblind. Everybody's equal. Everybody's liked. Everybody's loved. Everybody has a place, except unless you're a white person, apparently. Then you are akin to a virus that needs to be stamped out, just like a pandemic. I can't see myself giving these guys any money, any support, and I'm going to petition that the state of Minnesota stop supporting the University of Minnesota for this. This isn't an accident. This is intentional, and they know exactly what they're doing, and we need to respond to this. This can't stand. They can't just pick one race. And I dare you to try to put any other race or a religion other than Christianity in the same kind of webpage on the University of Minnesota. See how long it stays up. Zero minutes. So that's my thoughts on it. Dave, what are you thinking about this? Am I off base? Do I not understand it?
No, you're right. You're right on track. And it's like they're inventing things to get attention. They're inventing things to waste money on.
Yeah.
Because you look at the titles of these, and they're all doctors, they're all female doctors, PhDs with. So they're trying to justify their jobs by causing controversy. These are basically TikTok professors. Their job is to create fake news.
I'm so tired of this continuous attack on white people and Christianity. This has got to stop. And if it doesn't stop, you're going to have some sort of slapback, and you're not going to like it. And it's not going to be people like me. It's going to be people who are going to be violent about this sooner or later, because this can't stand anymore.
Right.
So we're going to put a link to this stupidity into our comments section. You can take a look at it for yourself and see. And if you think I'm wrong on this, if you think that we don't understand this, give me a comment. Let's talk about it, because this is just, to me, boils my blood. It's everything you're told not to do and then doing it to you.
It's the kind of their way of getting rid of white people, and they got rid of DEI, or Trump did. So this is how they're bearing it.
Right. Well, got rid of DEI for now, but it's not going away. It's going to be lurking in the shadows, waiting for its revival.
It'll always be there. They're just not. They just took away the title of the person. Now it's now it's equity minister, basically.
Yeah, they just changed the title and hide them away. They're doing the same job.
Yeah, they're going to do exactly the same thing. Get paid enormous amounts of public money to. I hate to bring up the one about. They just found out that there's a place at UMD that they're studying queerness. It just showed up in Alpha News today, and I haven't read it, so I can't get too far into it. But it's like, why are we wasting money on this?
Yeah, why do we subsidize a university to pay to teach these kind of things?
Right.
It's time to decouple us from having to pay for these kind of programs, and let them, if they want these programs, pay for it themselves. These are great things for private colleges to teach. The public colleges should just be about educating things that are actually useful.
Right. And we said it last week, and we'll say it again this week, is, do you want your money funding a pro-Trump campaign? Well, probably not. What's the difference? So why should the Republicans have to pay for a massively progressive liberal campaign or situation or indoctrination, whatever you want to call it?
Right. Exactly. In a same vein, different story, but same vein, this New York City councilwoman was getting on, they're having some sort of council meeting, I believe. And she brings up this thing where the DEI, the certificate numbers, there's a program they've got, and there's too many white women benefiting from it, from minority and women-owned businesses. And she literally says in this thing, our taxpayer dollars are going right back into the hands of white people. Our taxpayer dollars are going right back into the hands of white people. When she says our taxpayer dollars, I don't think she means the dollars that are meant for everybody, or the money we pay into it. What she's saying is that's money for us, because she's a minority woman, so she wants to have more minority women having this money. That's not the way the government is supposed to work. The government is not supposed to be picking and choosing winners and giving money to them. We've had enough of this. It's time to get done with this. Everybody gets to play now. We've had enough reparations for the last 50 years for people. And most of the people that I see that are complaining about it are in their 20s or their 30s. Some of them have been born this century. They just have never felt any kind of pain. They haven't had any kind of anything stopping them, but they still act like they're the big victim, and they need to just drain all the money away from people that are trying to work for a living and trying to support their families.
Right.
So I'm going to put a link to that too. I don't want to play her, but it's just unbelievable. This is blatant racism, and it's always directed towards one race.
And why we discussed this before is, why is the government collecting data on race for business owners? That should have absolutely nothing to do with starting a business.
Well, these are the people that get to apply for these things because they are that. So they're declaring themselves as a minority-owned business so they can go into the sweet honeypot that I don't qualify for.
Yeah.
Because apparently I was born independently wealthy. Nobody told me about it, and they hid it pretty well. But I don't get to participate in it. It's kind of like that Duluth City Chamber of Commerce. Yep. Duluth Chamber of Commerce had this exhibit, and it was open to BIPOC, military, and so BIPOC and military. So BIPOC is every race except white.
Right.
And every orientation except straight. And then military is, that's basically a binary. You're either in the military or not. The only group excluded from that list was straight white men who were not in the military. That's it. That's the only people that are excluded. So from their point of view, it was a very inclusive group. To my point of view, it was fairly exclusive. I didn't get to participate. And I'm one of only one certain set of criteria that doesn't. Everybody else does. And that's stacking the deck against us and punishing us as if we did something wrong.
Right.
I can't atone for the sins of of things that happened 150 years ago or even 50 years ago. I'm not that old. If I did something, I should atone for that. I didn't. So stop sticking it to me like I am the one that has to pay for all the sins that you presume were done on you. And especially if you're in your 20s and 30s, were never done to you.
That was going to be our word of the day. It's called presentism, but it turns out it's a made up phrase or whatever versus an actual word.
What is that?
Presentism is punishing you today for sins of the past, like the 1700s. Because all of our forefathers signed the Declaration of Independence, 1776, they're punishing you because all of them were white males.
Yeah.
So they need to punish you now for sins of what happened 250 years ago.
And I'll tell you what, my family on either side wasn't even here until the early 1900s.
Correct.
So I wasn't part of the group that signed the Declaration of Independence. I wasn't part of the group that had slaves. We came here to work farms back in the early 1900s when they were begging people to come over here to farm this land.
Yep.
That's my ancestry. I don't claim it and I don't deny it. I don't think that I've grown up in America my whole life. I feel like I am kin to the people that signed the Declaration of Independence. But stop acting like you're a victim if you are any different race, orientation, whatever. It's done. Right. Stop it. Okay. Zen breath. Shall we be happier now?
I don't think it's going to get any better.
Great. You get a sneak peek at what we're going to talk about. Yeah. So let's go on to the.
Yeah, I mean, I can add some things in there too, and it's just like, oh yeah, that'll make people laugh.
Great.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing I have for Duluth news, and this is going to be a short show today. We don't have a lot of stuff, but we're going to talk about the data center in Hermantown and I don't have a story directly akin to it, but there's something that happened in Texas, and Texas knows how to do the dealings with the data centers. And what they said was, if you're going to build a data center, you have to have your own electricity source. Not only do you have to do that, then you have to bleed over into the public systems and give us some electricity. So instead of rising the cost of electricity because they demand so much, they have to provide their own. That's part of the deal for building the data center.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, that should be a model to look at.
Yeah, and even the Hermantown one, or every data center, believe it or not, people don't know that Duluth already has a data center, but they don't want to go down for any reason. So they already have generators that can run their whole place. So they will never go down under any circumstance.
Yeah, they have redundant power systems, but they need to have a power system for just day to day.
Correct.
The one in Duluth isn't very big. It's not anywhere near the one they're talking about in Hermantown, or it's also not an AI center. So that's going to even consume more power and water. The other interesting thing I saw about the data centers is the water. They say it contaminates the water. Well, if that's the case, then yeah, I don't think we need it. Let's get that out.
But it's not. It's not going to contaminate the water.
That's what I'm wondering. How would it contaminate it?
It's going to do is heat the water and return it.
Right. It's the water's for cooling, right?
Correct. It's just for cooling only. So it'll never leave a pipe, basically. So it'll never be exposed to any environmental problems or anything. It'll just get hot to cool the place down and then get sent back. So
right.
All they're getting is hot water. So there's going to be no environmental as far as that side of it goes, but obviously they don't.
It's a reasonable question to ask and a reasonable thing for them to have an answer for. That's the whole problem with what's going on with Hermantown right now is there was no reasonable way to ask a question because nobody knew about it until it was jumped on them, right?
Yeah, and that's the number one problem is the NDAs is nobody can't answer these legitimate questions because nobody knew about it. That's what it boiled down to.
And I was thinking about it because they're talking about, well, we have to do this as part of our job. I work at a company. I can't just go sign an NDA. So my boss says, yeah, get this project done. I can't just go sign an NDA and not tell them about it.
Right.
Well, we're the politician's boss. They report to us. We don't want you to sign an NDA. If you say, hey, this data center wants to come here and we're going to work out some details, but I have to sign an NDA before we can, do the logistics, that's different. You don't just go behind your boss's back and sign an NDA. That's just not right.
Right. Another piece of Duluth news that just happened Monday night, and I didn't get a chance to put it on the show list, was that ramp that they're tearing down on the hillside. The cost of that went from $900,000 to $2.5 million because and they approved that, of course, obviously. But
who's doing it? Is the city paying for it?
The city's paying for it. So just so as a Duluth resident, if you're a Duluth resident, you know how to scam the city. Just start with a bid. It doesn't matter because they're going to approve whatever it's going to be. So
well, it's the old a contractor trick. You get the bid, it's low. You start doing the work, you get halfway through, and then you say, well, we're running out of money. So do you want me to just leave it or you want me to finish it? And you're going to pay for the rest.
Right.
And when you've got people that don't know how to sign business deals, running the city and running the state, this is what you get. You get bent over every single time. This is why I'm nervous about a data center coming to Duluth or any kind of plan coming to Duluth, because I don't think they know how to write deals. I don't know how they don't seem to know how to get and look long-term what's going to happen and step in front of it, be 2 steps ahead. It doesn't seem like we elect people that have that ability. And this is what we get. The consequences are what you see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why Lester Park Golf Course is overgrown and Duluth Central is a parking lot. So
yes.
the city doesn't know what they're doing. So
they've done You're everything we've come to expect from government employees.
It's okay. The government's here to help.
Yeah. Good God.
Yeah.
Off to Minnesota news. Minnesota Democrats defend Somalis amid massive fraud investigations. Of course they do. This is on Breitbart. They've sided with the state's Somali community despite evidence of widespread Somali fraud on taxpayers' health care programs. Why are they doing this, Dave? Because they vote for Democrats.
Correct.
And we've talked about this before. Why aren't the Democrats solving problems? They are. Their problem is they need to get reelected. It's just that their problems don't align with what your problems are because you don't matter once they get elected. And these are the people they need to placate to get elected. So that's the problem.
Yeah, I just to hear Klobuchar and Smith and Walls and all of them complain nonstop. It's just crazy. They're defending the people that are stealing us blind.
Yeah.
And you talk to the native Somalians and grifting is just a natural cultural phenomenon over there. That's just what they do.
That area there are certain areas of the world where that is common. That is what they've grown up with. It's their culture. And that's what they bring when you bring them in here en masse. And that's Barack Obama, his administration that did that. They took a large concentration of a people from a different country and stuck them in one location. And then they act surprised when they find out that they're voting for the people that look like them and act like them and are from the place they are.
Right.
And for the rest of us, helpless to stop them, apparently. Not as bad as the UK, but it's pretty bad here.
Yeah, and that's why I wrote the little note underneath it, because that was a question I just didn't quite understand. So the Democrats are defending the Somalis that were caught stealing for feeding our future, yet they won't approve opening the government to bring the SNAP benefits back online. So at one point they're allowing the stealing and people starving, and then on the other exact same breath they're not opening the government so people will starve because they're not getting their SNAP benefits.
That's classic government thinking right there.
Yeah. I mean, how is it irony or hypocrisy, or is it both? I mean, it could be both, or they're just total morons. I mean, that's the other possibility.
Yeah, I mean, we could ask Alanis Morissette, but I don't think we're going to get the right answer.
No, she didn't really know much either.
No.
So,
Governor Tim Walz news. What's his approval rating? His approval rating has slightly declined during the first 3 quarters of 2025. It was 56% in the first quarter, 54% in the second quarter, and finally 53% in the third quarter, placing him 33rd out of 50 governors. You know what I have to say about that, Dave? How in God's name is it so high?
Yeah, how could even... Yeah, who actually even likes him?
He's got a few votes in his family. I don't know. I think Mayor Fry likes him. Other than that, I don't know. But 56% are okay with this doofus? That's
right.
Unreal.
Yeah, I don't know what they think I don't know where the poll actually came from, but just like we went over last week, the failures of the GDP, all that stuff. He's
I wonder if it's going to change when people start getting reamed by all the taxes this year. Because I got my tax bill for my house, it went up 12%. Plus, they increased the value of my house. So my unrealized gain tax went way up again this year. That's not just the only tax that's going up. Car taxes are going up. Everything is going up, and they don't attribute it to Walz at all.
No.
Or this or the government that spent the 18 billion in the surplus and then taxed us to 10 billion more and still put us in $7 billion in debt. It's unbelievable. It's like watching people. It's almost as if they have no business experience at all.
And they're still raising taxes like they need it.
Oh, yeah.
Like nobody's affected by the Biden inflation except for them.
Right.
But they're getting more money because of the Biden inflation, because of the price of the product goes up. Therefore, the sales tax numbers goes up.
Tax always goes up.
Yeah. So their money is increasing automatically, yet they're still raising taxes. Yeah,
you're right about the stories, Dave. I'm just not getting happier. I'm going down to the next one here. Hennepin County judge tosses out a jury's guilty verdict in a $7.2 million home health care fraud case. Jurors tell KARE 11 News their decision wasn't difficult after seeing the evidence of obvious fraud committed by Abdulfas Yusuf. So again, who are they protecting and why?
right.
So a judge just can say, well, you jury, you found this guy guilty. Here's, no, I don't agree with it. Out. Tosses it out. Well, how do they get this kind of power?
Yeah. And the jury is there to I thought was to override the judge, but obviously not.
They're to tell the judge is supposed to be there to make sure the jury just is being given the evidence needed to come up with a verdict so then he can lay sentencing down.
Because all the jurors are saying, yeah, it was pretty obvious.
Right.
But then the judge goes, and I don't know, personally, I would, if I was on the jury, I'd sue the daylights out of the judge.
What a waste of time, too.
Yeah. You wasted my time because you didn't like the outcome. You're just going to change it? No.
The judge ruled that the state's case relied heavily on circumstantial evidence, and she believed the state didn't rule out other reasonable influences. So she's not a judge. She's basically a defense attorney, huh?
Right.
But she's troubled by the manner in which fraud was able to be perpetrated at Promise Health. So she doesn't like the system, but the guy that actually did it, yeah, he's fine. Let him go. Oh my God.
Yeah.
My question is, she's a judge. Did she get elected in? And does she even know anything about the law? Two valid questions nowadays.
Right. Yeah. And that's why we got to have somebody on the Republican side. Their only job is to investigate the judges. So when we go to election time, we know who's following the law and who's not following the law.
Or who's just disregarding lawful jury decisions.
Yep. Correct.
All right. And other Minnesota news, our last Minnesota news, Rochester Public Utilities proposes new solar fee.
Yeah. So
tell me about this, Dave. I didn't know about this one.
Yeah. So this is happening out in Rochester. And basically, if you put solar panels on your house, you're feeding back into the grid power to help out your neighbors. So they would basically not charge you for anything because you're providing power back into the system. But then someone woke up and said, well, that's not really fair. They need to, there's maintenance costs that they need to be. So they came around and screwed over the property owners who put $20,000, $30,000 worth of solar panels on your roof that was supposed to pay back in 25 to 30 years. Well, now that's gone. So basically, they nullified your break-even point.
Right. So it says here, it'll take them 21 to 26 years to break even on a system that's life expectancy is 25 to 30 years. So just as he gets it paid off, if he's lucky, it lasts that long, it'll break. And then
if it lasts that long.
So I had a guy come out and try to sell me solar panels as well. And, I was looking at how much investment I had to put into it. And it was going to take me 15, 20 years to break even on it. So I was putting all the money down now, and it was going to reduce my energy costs. My electricity costs weren't that great either. So it just didn't make any sense to me to do it. But, and the other thing is, okay, I get them paid off and I'm break even finally, but now I got holes in my roof and a maintenance thing that I have to put up there. I have to go clean them off every once in a while. There's potential leakages into my roof. It's unsightly. Yeah. There's a lot of bad things about it too. So it didn't make any sense to me to put them on there. And now, just like they do with everything else, the carrot's already been there. Now they take out the stick.
Correct.
Once they get you, what's he going to do? Can't say no. It's a new tax on the system. He could take his solar panels off, I suppose, and then his investment's all sunk. But
yeah, and they didn't tell you that the solar panels are considered hazardous waste if you try to dispose of them. So you can't just bring them up to the landfill. They have to be, it's a huge cost to have someone come out, and properly dispose of them.
Right.
So it will never break even. And they found some suckers down in Rochester that they're screwing over now. It'll come to the rest of Minnesota. So if you have a solar panels on your house, yeah, too bad. You're going to lose on this one. Yeah.
They'll figure out another way to take that money away from you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the next thing. Oh, this is actually Minnesota news if I think about it. So the trial date for, you remember the lady that had a guy basically stalking her in a park, and she was telling him to get lost, and she started calling him names.
Right.
36-year-old who was accused of using racial slurs against a child in Rochester has been set. She wasn't doing it against a child. She was doing it against somebody who's coming after her to take her stuff. She was charged with 3 counts of our favorite law, Dave. Yep. Disorderly conduct. The catch-all, I can charge you with this no matter what.
Right.
You look at me sideways, I don't like the way you're looking at me. Disorderly conduct. So is she free to say what she wants to or not? That's the question. This is a freedom of speech law.
Absolutely.
Somebody's coming after her. She's reacting to him. She's trying to walk away. She's not aggressively going after the guy. She's trying to make him not want to be there. That's a freedom of speech thing.
Right.
And I thought this story was the same one I was going to put on here, and I don't know if I have it on here. There was a number of Muslims down in Florida that were praying, and people were taunting them by going and talking about how good bacon is, which you don't have to sell me on that. I love bacon. Right. And, they got charged with a federal hate crime. And I'm like, wait a second. This is freedom of speech. You don't have to like it. You have to tolerate it, though. And just because it hurts your feelings doesn't mean it's against the law. Now, I wouldn't do that. I think it's kind of a bonehead thing to do, to taunt people who are praying. But let me give you a different angle on that. They're not praying out in public because that's what their religion says. They're praying out in public to make a statement that they're here.
Right.
You don't go in large groups outside to pray unless you're trying to make a statement. Doesn't matter what religion it is. So going there to taunt them was a reaction to that. They brought it on. Right. So to me, that's also another freedom of speech case that should be a slam dunk. It's never been charged.
Yeah, they're both of them are basic First Amendment rights, complete amendment, right. First Amendment rights. There was no violence. There was no aggression. There was no touching or assault. It was just speech. Right. And very simple. This should be thrown out so fast.
Right. I agree.
It's so blatant First Amendment rights.
It was like, you asked the question, did they hit him? No. Did they attack him physically? No. So what's the problem? They hurt their feelings. Not good enough.
Right.
No, freedom of speech isn't to protect things you like. You have to stand up for freedom of speech for things you don't like too.
Right.
Now, I wouldn't have done it. Like I said, I wouldn't have done this. But I understand the reaction to it, and I understand the reasoning to it. So, I'm not even going to go through the Jasmine Crockett thing. I'm going to put a link in here for another Jasmine Crockett speech that, oh man, that woman.
she's completely trying to win dumbest Democrat in this year. So
they're in a big competition and they're each winning in
Yep.
their own way. The next thing is I want to talk about Oklahoma. Voters could eliminate property taxes. See, it's spreading. I
Yep.
love this. I love the rhetoric I'm seeing in things like Florida, where DeSantis is saying, if you're paying the government every year for your property, you don't own it, you are renting it. So this is a good article. You should go through and read it. And of course, the first thing they say in response is, well, how are you going to pay for everything? Which is a valid question. But I think it should also be looked at as, why are you paying for it? What are we paying for that we don't need to? And who is this affecting?
And that was the very first story that we talked about tonight.
Right.
What can we eliminate? What are we paying for that we can eliminate? Oh, there's one. We don't have to pay for whiteness pandemics.
Right.
That can be long gone.
I don't need to fund people teaching classes on how to eliminate me as a race or as a person. I don't need to. Yeah, the University of Minnesota should be defunded completely by the state of Minnesota. Completely. 100% done. So it'll be interesting to see if they do this. And they even say on there, we'll have to figure out a lot of stuff, just like I've said too. I mean, it's not something you can do right away. But I think the initiative is, first of all, single family homeowners who is their primary residence should be, not having to pay property taxes.
Right.
If you can't do that, you'd go after like seniors, 65 and older. Shouldn't be increasing the property taxes. Probably should just eliminate them completely. They paid their dues.
Completely.
Are we going to talk about this? Pennsylvania became the 28th state to sign the Crown Act into law. That means that it's a law solidifying protections against hair discrimination in the state. I have yet to see anybody explain this to me in a logical way to what they actually mean. So go ahead.
I just had to laugh because Josh Shapiro is considered one of the leaders of the Democrat Party, and he was actually, he's actually one of the normal ones that would, go up for presidential election in 2028. And then he pulls dumb crap like this. So, he's just a spineless weasel, bowing down to the I don't even know what you call them. But
so the purpose behind this law is that there is apparently some sort of discrimination against people with dreadlocks, or it's a black woman that's running it, and she's only giving examples of black people's hair and saying that they can't get jobs because it looks bad. Well, you're opening this up to anything. I mean, if I don't want somebody with bright pink hair to represent my company, it should be my right to know who represents my company. And this is a great example of the government getting interfering with businesses where they have no place. It's yet another example. It's those sticky fingers of the government coming in and saying yet another thing that businesses aren't allowed to do for their own representation of their own businesses. If I have a coffee shop, I don't want somebody with like stinky long hair, maybe, or to do. There's a lot of places that have that, and they wouldn't want a clean cut person, maybe. But you're opening this up to, hey, so this black lady gets a skinhead that comes in and wants to work there. Can she say no? The only thing she knows is that he's a skinhead.
Right.
It just leads to bad consequences. They're so proud of themselves. I saw the interview with the woman who did this. She's so proud of herself for this. And it's just an unnecessary law. It's unnecessary bureaucracy that's being added again to another business to have to worry about this. So,
because they need to control everything.
Yes, they do. Just another means of control.
Correct.
We spent way too much time on that topic already.
Yeah, I didn't think it would go that long either, but.
Next one is anti-ICE protesters clogging up California Home Depot with a buy-in stunt. So isn't this where they're going and buying one thing and then coming back and returning it?
Correct. So they're going in, buying ice scrapers for 79 cents, walking out the door, and going to the return counter and getting their money back.
And what is
So
this
they're doing
accomplishing?
this so often. Well, the protest is because they want ICE to stop picking up immigrants at Home Depot for day labor.
Mm-hmm.
So
How
that's why
does
they're
this
buying
do that?
ice scrapers. So they're wasting hours of their time standing in line. So they're gonna buy for 79 cents. They're gonna stand there for an hour, and then go into the return line and stand there for another couple of hours, wasting their time getting their 79 cents back.
What
to
is
stop.
it accomplishing? I
It's-
just don't understand the thought behind this.
Because they're protesting migrants standing outside of Home Depot, usually off of their lot, usually on the sidewalks, so people can't hire them for day laborers, like mostly in
Yeah.
California.
But how does buying an ice scraper and then returning it fix that?
Yeah, we're back into the how dumb can a Democrat be?
Now we can't say this is a Democrat. We don't know. It's a liberal. So
True. So
cast a wider net.
you're wasting 2 or 3 hours of time for something that Home Depot has absolutely nothing to do with.
Right. Yes.
It's not on their property. They're just near their property. Therefore, we should punish Home Depot. There's a nationwide boycott on Home Depot because of it.
Do they understand that Home Depot does not run ICE, or that ICE is doing the things that are laws that have been passed by the Congress and the Senate, signed by the president? Do they understand all that? This is part of our fabric, is our laws, and they don't like the laws. They going to Home Depot to buy an ice scraper is not fixing anything. I'm guessing the answer is no.
Obviously the answer is no, but they have no idea. It's like the craft show up at the arts and craft show up at Stauber's office every week. The senior,
the people outside, the senior showing off their signs,
showing off their arts and crafts. Look at my sign. Yeah, exactly. They don't know. They have no idea either what's going on.
At 3:00, it's time to get into the minibus and go back for pudding.
Correct. Yeah. So this story at Home Depot is about the same process. They have no idea what they're doing. Their protest is not accomplishing what they're trying to accomplish, and it never will.
So I remember when they did the guys sitting up there and set up the little tent village for Emily Larson's when she was mayor. At the city of Duluth, they had a little tent village. And I went there one day and I sat down with a guy and I said, "Hey, so what are you trying to accomplish here?" We don't like the city's involvement with Palestine or Israel. Oh, okay. So what's going to change to make this protest be done? When do you think that you have accomplished this? Well, when places like Wells Fargo decouple from Israel. So you sitting in a tent in the grass outside the city hall in Duluth, Minnesota is going to make Wells Fargo decouple from Israel. Do you see where that doesn't really compute to anything? No, he didn't understand it. No. And he didn't know what the end game was, and he didn't care. It was just a way to go sit and hang out.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like this. This is just I did something today. What'd you do? I bought an ice scraper 10 times and I returned it 10 times. That's great. Good job.
Yeah. Just it was so stupid I had to throw it on the list.
Yeah. Next story, nurse shocked. Their career has been removed as professionals. So nurses are not considered professional or a professional degree. So I heard about this a little bit, and what it came down to is the woman was explaining it that said they're still professionals, they still need to get a degree for it, but if you deem something a professional degree, there's no limit to the amount of debt that the student can take on in order to get that degree, and the
Right.
government will fund it. And so that the programs that used to be $70,000 for a 4-year term are now $150,000. So the university are taking advantage of this by just increasing it, knowing that their students are going to get that loan.
Right.
The universities get the money, the loan goes to the government, and then so they're removing that designation. So now there's a cap, right?
Yes, that's how it worked.
Okay.
So now you can't just automatically borrow as much as, and that's, well, hopefully will bring the price of it down. Trump is not trying to degrade nurses. He's trying to save them hundreds and thousands of dollars.
Right.
And I didn't understand the whole thing when I first looked at it either. It's like, that doesn't make much sense. Once I read into it, like you said, it's trying to help nurses, not hurt them.
Right.
And it's just in the definition of a professional degree is an internal definition used by the department to distinguish among programs that qualify for higher loan limits.
Okay. So yeah, if the ability to get the loan isn't there, the price of the program will probably come down, right?
Correct. Yeah. So basically, there's another university stealing from the government because they can, because they have to fund their projects, their whiteness projects.
Right. All right. Let's move on to international news, because this story is one that I cannot believe. So we talked about the UK and their draconian measures of limiting free speech.
Yeah.
This woman was attacked. She was in the hospital. She texted her friend to vent and referred to the man who assaulted her as a lump of sticks, if you get my meaning. And her friend reported her to the police for homophobia, and they arrested her. She's been convicted of a hate crime. Holy cow, a private text message, not to the individual, to somebody, a third party. And she's been convicted of a hate crime. Now, I will say this to this story because it sounds too unreal. I haven't vetted this to know that it's 100% real, but if it is, dear God.
Well, it came from England, so you know that it could be.
I totally believe it.
Yeah. As bad as they've become, I can see it.
A great example of what happens when they disarm their population, what will happen to that population in 10 to 20 years. They'll do whatever they want. No ramifications. And kind of along those lines, this is kind of ironic. I line these things up because I knew they kind of went hand in hand. In the UK now, they've started to add a surcharge to buying a kitchen knife. $20, 20-pound tax now to deter knife crime. Well, I guess you just have to steal from somebody enough to get your 20 pounds before you can buy your knife and then get more. It's kind of a stepping stone kind of thing. That's unreal too. I mean, they're ban this. So sooner or later they're going to ban kitchen knives. Then what?
Yeah. Australia banned like big machetes, the big ones, but I sent you that one that came from New Zealand on how to stop all crimes. Is on your gun, put a little sticker that says "Do not shoot people" or "Do not load more than 6 into the chamber." Because if you have a sticker that tells you, you're obviously not going to.
Don't shoot people.
Just because you can hold 50 rounds doesn't, if you have a sticker there, it means you're only going to put 6 in, and you put another sticker on this that says "Do not shoot human beings." Well, there's, that bam right there, that law ended crime right there. So.
So moving on to a little different thing. It's the on Twitter or X, they started putting on a location where you're from, if you have a phone app, it'll tell you where that's from and where you're logging in from. So I found this next one pretty interesting. There is an account called Native American Soul, account based in Bangladesh. I have a hard time believing that's a Native American there. Yeah. I saw that I think the Department of one of our State Department or something was based in Israel. Like what? And it was real. It wasn't. At first I thought somebody was just making it up to make a point.
Right.
But and apparently now the government Twitter accounts are exempt from this, so they're not doing it anymore for them. Wonder why?
Yeah.
And so there's been a bunch of different accounts. Like a lot of the like really weird ones are from another country. They're not from America. So you got to be kind of careful and kind of look. If somebody's promoting something, it could just be propaganda.
Right.
And one last thing. Is this the last one in the international news? I think it is.
Yeah.
Zelensky. Let's talk Ukraine, shall we? They talk about this peace deal that has been put out. A senior U.S. official said the Ukraine significantly changed one of the 28 points in the version that appeared online. An apparent move to expose alleged corruption, the draft had called for an audit of all international aid Ukraine had received. The language was changed to say all parties will receive full amnesty for their actions during the war. Well, wouldn't that be a nice thing to write in? I'm surprised the Nazis didn't write that in. Oh, by the way, we get free amnesty. See? I just hope it doesn't go through that way. It's going to be very interesting when there is peace to see what happens to Zelensky, because they've been suspending elections since he's been in charge. Like he outlawed elections. He's decimated. I don't even want to say decimated. He's eliminated political parties that were against him. He's been a real dictator. And I hope everybody that put their little blue and yellow signs up and support Ukraine know just who they're supporting. If you think this guy is a good guy, he's an actor playing a part, and his time is running out.
And he was literally an actor.
Yes. He literally played a person who became president of Ukraine. And then they did it. Yeah. Oh, the show's so popular. Why don't we just do it? And it worked.
Right.
Good Lord. See, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to that guy once this war is over. I wonder if he'll be like Justin Trudeau and start dating Katy Perry and going off and, he's a real worker for the people. Of course, I don't know. Dating Katy Perry might be taking one for the team, I guess.
Or what was that Carrie movie where he was he didn't know he was in a real life drama?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head now. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Truman Show. Yeah. So it's basically, the European version of the Truman Show, but it actually came to life. So.
Right. Yes, it kind of is. All right. Anything else for national news, Dave?
No, it was, Trump is claiming that they found a peace deal with Ukraine and Russia. So we'll have to sit on our hands and wait to see what actually happens, and then see if that was part of the deal where he gets to keep the hundreds of millions that he stole from the U.S.
I tell you what, I saw a video of him getting off a helicopter. My wife actually sent it to me. He looked pretty worn out when he came off that helicopter. Like, he's been doing a lot of work, and this guy's pushing 80. So I guess if I'm looking at things to be thankful for Thanksgiving, I'm thankful he's doing the job he's doing, because, man, things have gotten a lot better since he took over as far as the world goes and our prices and people looking out for United States citizens. But it's never over. It's always going to be a fight, because they're sitting in the wings waiting to take over again.
Yeah, and that's why the news media is so much complaining about the price of everything is going up still. Because he's
All
been
of a
in
sudden,
office. He's been in office 9 months, and the 50 years Biden was in office, it's Trump's fault. So
well, yeah, I mean, during the 4 years of Biden, the inflation went up sky high. You saw stuff rising real time. And they
right,
didn't mention at all about it. They didn't say a word about it until he got in office.
correct.
The interesting thing, and this is kind of off topic. It's interesting between his first term and his second term. Like they fought him every day on his first term. This second term, they're whipped. At least they have been so far. They're either planning something big or they've been beaten too long now, and they're going down. So I'm hoping that's it. I'm hoping they're realizing that maybe they should stick up for us. Maybe we're the important people this time.
Yeah, their plans of taking over aren't working. Even some of the medias are starting to question the Democratic authority, which they're not used to, and it's surprising them when you watch like CNN and stuff like that and doing interviews, and they're getting follow-up questions that they're not understanding, and then they panic, and then they say incredibly stupid things. That's why we have Crockett, in the news basically every week.
I can't explain Crockett, man. I can't explain her.
No, and then that Eric Swalwell, who was he ran into the lady, the lesbian lady at the Gold's Gym, and he wouldn't answer the question of, are you going to ban men in women's locker rooms? And
really,
and he stalled and couldn't answer it. So, he said he was running for governor, yet you can't answer a simple question like that.
Right. Well, when you have no principles, it's pretty easy to avoid that stuff.
Right. But
that's the guy that slept with a Chinese spy, right?
Correct.
Is that the guy?
Yeah.
And he still has, he's running for governor, right?
Yeah, for governor of California.
My goodness.
Because they must think he's that Newsom was running for president in 28. That's
yeah, pretty sure he's going to.
Yeah. So it kind of gave, this last week, it kind of gave me the realization, it's like, don't do your research. If, we've talked about this, about doing your research and coming up with all that and seeing the words of the day. And I was thinking, well, no, don't do your research. We research everything. So just believe us. Just blindly believe us. If we say it, it's true. Don't believe what the media says. We research it, so you can just blindly believe us and go on with it.
Seems like the best way to go, I think.
Yeah. Because the media has been so wrong all the time. The Democrats are so wrong. That's why they're having ice scraper fights in California at Home Depot. And there's arts and crafts fairs outside of Stauber's office up in Harmontown. So just forget about that. We research it. Just blindly believe it, and
there you go.
Your life will be so much better.
Why not?
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to health and fitness, then we'll do the word of the day. And health and fitness, I don't have any stories. I just want to say Thanksgiving's coming up. I'm one of those people now that reads all my ingredient labels on all the stuff I buy, much to the chagrin of my wife, who would wish I would sometimes just not do that. And I could see the disappointment in her face when we're at a grocery store. She's like, "Ooh," and she hands it to me to look at. Nah.
Yeah.
No high fructose corn syrup. I'm trying to limit the amount of soy. Titanium dioxide, look for that. That's not a good thing. They use that in paint. Gluten, we have people in our family that have gluten sensitivity, so we're non-gluten for most of our stuff. There's really good food now, non-gluten. I wouldn't suggest, if you don't have a gluten intolerance, to go completely gluten-free, but there is some really good food. It's more pricey, but it's so much better than it was 10 years ago, let's say.
Yeah.
And then remember, when you go to a Hawaiian luau, they say, you don't eat until you're full, you eat until you're tired. Not a good way to live your life, but maybe a couple times a year, that's not a bad way to do it.
Right.
And that turkey has that tryptophan or something like that will make you tired anyway.
Make you tired. So
Uh,
if you're only overeating once a year, that's fine. If
right.
you're overeating 4 or 5 times a week, then that's a problem. So.
Right. You don't want to end up looking like a cast member of Wicked, which we should have brought that. I should have brought that up.
Yeah.
And it's perfect in the health and fitness section. You look at the cast members before and after, before they did the movie, when they started doing the movie and after, it's like they went on a hunger strike during the whole filming of this thing. It's ridiculous.
When you can afford Ozempic.
But they're already too thin.
Yeah, they started out thin, yeah.
All right, word of the day. Marxism. And the definition is a theory and practice of socialism, including the labor theory of value. Dialectical materialism, the class struggle, and dictatorship of the proletariat.
Yep.
Until the establishment of a classless society. Well, then it's a classless society.
Yeah.
There's not a period there. Marxism is a political, cultural, and economic philosophy that theorizes that social conflict exists due to constant power struggles between capitalists and workers. Yeah. Okay.
So they think it's, you have a huge problem between the workers and the capitalists, the people that are owning the business, and there's this constant struggle, and it's detrimental to everybody. So
why do they think that the workers are not capitalists? I go to work to make money for myself, and then maybe I'll build something and sell it and become richer. That's what capitalism is.
Right. And that's why it's so closely related to socialism that it's really hard to tell the two between the two, but that's the basics of it. And I wanted to clear up all the isms before we get to some better words. So
okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Dave?
No, it wasn't as jovial as we expected, but that's what happens during.
This is where we'll find some fun stories to talk about. I don't want to be this angry. That U of M story at the beginning of the show, that's the thing that really boils my potato. So I don't like it at all. And that really is something that I want to fight against. So I would like to take that down. That'll be maybe my mission for the next couple months, is to try to get that thing completely eliminated. All right. Well, that's it. We're going to take off now. So have a happy Thanksgiving. Talk to everybody. Enjoy your weekend. If you get Friday off too, enjoy your 4-day weekend. Until next week, I'm Sean.
I'm Dave.
This has been Duluth Conservative. Thanks for joining.